Like, who has been the most exciting person for you tonight?
Oh my God.
Besides,
Took the words out of my mouth. Besides, I'm a narcissist.
You ever see someone handed the golden ticket to Hollywood only to light the whole thing on fire? That's exactly what Rachel Zegler did. She didn't just stumble, she turned Disney's priciest fairy tale dream into a full-blown $170 million nightmare. It was such a disaster that top Disney execs were reportedly flying across the country just to beg her to stop posting online. Can you imagine that? This movie wasn't some low-budget gamble. It cost more to make than Rogue One, Guardians of the Galaxy, and even the Beauty and the Beast remake. Yet somehow, it managed to become the biggest live-action embarrassment Disney has ever seen. That's not just a flop, it's history-level failure. And let's talk about what led up to this mess. The same actress who spent years dragging the original Snow White, calling the princess a stalker, and firing off political rants right under her own movie trailer.
To everyone who hates when I win, people still line up to see her. Despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Then she acted surprised when the entire internet turned on her. Like, what did she expect? Now the numbers are out and they're brutal. Disney's live-action Snow White didn't just lose money, it became one of the biggest box office crashes of all time. A meltdown so epic, it makes the Titanic look like smooth sailing. So yeah, it's time to break down exactly how Rachel Zegler managed to torch her own career, sink Disney's wallet by nearly $200 million, and prove once again that Hollywood never seems to learn its lesson. This whole mess goes way deeper than just one bad movie. This is what happens when pure ego collides with a $300 million budget, and the result was chaos.
This is going to be one of the biggest failures for Disney, one of the biggest disasters for Disney, and that's the Rachel Zegler Snow White movie. Disney knows this.
It all kicked off when Rachel Zegler got the Hollywood golden touch. Steven Spielberg personally handpicked her for West Side Story, and after that, she was landing massive roles in franchises like The Hunger Games and DC projects. She basically had every Hollywood door swung wide open for her, silver platter and all. Then Disney came knocking with the crown jewel, the role of Snow White in their live-action remake of the studio's most legendary princess film ever. But instead of being thankful, or at least keeping it classy during the promo tour, Rachel decided to go full rebel mode. Every single interview turned into another headline, another jab at the classic that made her new role possible.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince, or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
She called the 1937 original weird and outdated, threw shade at the prince by calling him a stalker, and even said the love story was problematic. She laughed about how they weren't doing that this time, and that clip spread like wildfire online, over and over again. Now, sure, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but come on, when you're the face of a remake that's literally banking on people's nostalgia, maybe don't trash the movie that built the whole legacy. It's like getting hired to run a taco joint and spending your first day telling everyone that tacos are nasty. Who does that? Maybe that comparison will help her realize why her whole approach was a disaster from day one. But what made everything spiral even faster was that Rachel didn't stop at bashing the movie. She turned the entire Snow White promo campaign into her own personal political soapbox. When the very first trailer dropped, instead of hyping up the filming like any other star would, she decided to post her political opinions right under the official trailer tweet, and people were not having it. The general reaction was crystal clear. No one wanted politics mixed into a family-friendly fairy tale that generations grew up loving.
And now experts are warning her recent antics may trigger a boycott of the long-delayed Disney movie. Israeli publications have taken exception to Zegler's comment and suggested she's insulted fellow star Gal Gadot, although there is no suggestion of any tension between the two leading ladies.
It was supposed to be about magic and dreams, not debates and drama. Things got so messy that Disney execs reportedly had to fly across the country just to tell her to delete the posts. They even brought in a social media trainer to try and stop her from lighting up more PR fires. But Rachel stayed convinced she was doing the right thing, acting like some sort of activist hero, when really she was setting her own movie on fire before it ever hit theaters. And here's the kicker, when you're leading a family film that needs hundreds of millions just to break even, publicly wishing that half your audience never finds peace is not exactly a genius business move. Disney saw the storm brewing early, so they jumped into panic mode, ordering reshoots and emergency edits just to try and salvage what they could from the chaos.
Disney's actually fixing the live-action Snow White remake. So if y'all remember, the live-action Snow White remake has been extremely controversial. This is because of pictures that leaked from the set like this, showing off the 7 dwarves in the movie. There was also many interviews where the main actress who is playing Snow White seemed to want to trash the original movie at every opportunity that she could. Well, now this photo has been released from the movie, and now it seems like Disney is actually trying to make the movie more like the original. You see in this picture, the dwarves look very similar to how they do in the original film. In addition to the dwarves now looking more like the originals, Disney has also decided to push back the movie by a year. Now they say this is because of the writer's strike, but many people feel like it might have been due to all of the negative press that the movie has been getting over the past few months. Now honestly, this does seem like a step in the right direction, because the original stand-ins or whoever these people were for the dwarves really was an unnecessary change, so it's good that it's at least going to feel more like the original movie now.
Disney was scrambling so hard that they even forced a last-minute love story back into the movie just because test audiences hated that there wasn't any romance. It was pure damage control. By the time filming wrapped, the total cost had skyrocketed to over $336 million. That's more than Guardians of the Galaxy, more than Rogue One, and even more than the Beauty and the Beast remake that actually pulled in over $1 billion back in 2017. Unreal. And all that cash riding on a movie that was already doomed before it even hit the screen. The controversies, the backlash, the non-stop drama, it buried the project long before audiences ever saw a single frame. So when Snow White finally premiered in March 2025, it wasn't just a rough opening, it was a full-on massacre at the box office. The film limped out of the gate with only $42 million domestically, which was 13% below Disney's already lowered expectations. Overseas didn't save it either. It scraped together $118 million internationally. After barely surviving 4.5 weeks in theaters, Snow White crawled to a worldwide total of $205 million. Sounds big, right? Nope. Here's where the reality check hits hard. When you buy a movie ticket, theaters keep about half the money. So out of that $205 million total, Disney actually only pocketed around $102 million. And when you've spent $271 million just to make the thing, even after tax breaks, the math turns brutal fast. The final, confirmed numbers, Disney lost a staggering $170 million on Snow White. At that point, they might as well have tossed that mountain of cash into a bonfire. It would have been quicker and way less painful. At least then, they wouldn't have had to endure the endless PR nightmare that came with Rachel Zegler's chaotic press tour. As soon as the numbers dropped, the internet exploded. Reddit was flooded with threads tearing the whole situation apart. People couldn't stop pointing out the irony. This was the same actress who spent years preaching about activism and how celebrities need to speak out, yet all she actually did was torch her own career and burn through hundreds of millions of dollars in Disney's money. The internet was ruthless. Over on Twitter, things were even wilder. Users were posting side-by-side comparisons of Rachel's ultra-confident interviews from 2022 right next to headlines about the box office disaster, with captions like, "Congratulations, you played yourself." It was brutal. Even Disney tried to quietly back away from the chaos. There was no live-action Snow White character for photo ops in any of the theme parks. That's insane when you think about it, because they've done it for literally every other princess remake. You can go to the parks right now and meet both the animated and live-action Ariels, but Snow White? Nowhere to be found. Disney completely cut ties. They wanted nothing to do with the PR wreckage. They even dumped leftover Snow White merchandise into clearance bins at Dollar Tree and Five Below, pretending like the movie never even existed. That's how deep the embarrassment ran. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Rachel Zegler didn't take a single hint from any of it. Instead of laying low or owning up to her part in the chaos, she doubled down, hard. She went on to do more interviews, claiming that the backlash only happened because she was a woman and that people were holding her to different standards. Then, to top it all off, Glamour magazine named her one of their Women of the Year. In the profile, she even said actors should normalize not having boundaries when it comes to political issues. It was like she learned nothing at all from the entire $170 million disaster. She just kept fueling the fire with a smile. And now she says the criticism just rolls off her like water off a duck's back. Seriously? That's wild, because her total lack of boundaries is exactly what wrecked her career in the first place. But hey, Rachel keeps telling herself she's the victim here. Fast forward to 2026, and she's trying to claw her way back with an indie comedy called She Gets It From Me. No shade to the movie itself, but come on, it's a huge step down from headlining Disney, DC, and the Hunger Games. What a fall from grace. She's also been doing some theater gigs in London's West End, which is respectable work, but let's be real, it's not the Hollywood superstar path she was on just a few years ago. And then there were rumors floating around that she'd been cast as Gloria Estefan in a new biopic. But guess what? That movie doesn't even exist yet. No script, no budget, no production, nothing. It's giving pure PR spin, like they're just trying to make it look like people in the industry still want to work with her. But here's the cold truth. When a Disney executive publicly calls you a pain in the butt, when you cost the studio a staggering $170 million loss, and when your name becomes the industry's new definition of box office poison, you don't get the big roles anymore. The phone stops ringing, and those blockbuster scripts stop showing up. Now, don't get it twisted. Hollywood might be out of fresh ideas, but they're not dumb enough to hire someone who actively blows up their own projects. And that's the craziest part about all of this. It didn't have to end this way. If Rachel had just kept things professional, promoted the movie like a normal actor, and skipped the drama, she could have still been Hollywood's next big thing. Instead, she turned her own fairy tale ending into a cautionary tale everyone's still talking about. If Rachel had just kept her political takes to herself for 6 months, just half a year, things could have gone so differently. Even if Snow White still underperformed, because let's be honest, these endless Disney remakes are running on creative fumes, it wouldn't have been the historic train wreck it turned into. It probably wouldn't have lost a jaw-dropping $170 million, and her career might have at least been halfway intact. But instead, she chose to turn her platform into a non-stop political stage, firing off opinions with zero sense of timing or awareness. She trashed the very source material her whole paycheck depended on, and acted like being loud and controversial automatically made her brave and important. But here's the truth. The box office doesn't care about activism. Families sitting down to enjoy a nostalgic fairy tale aren't there for political lectures, and Disney's shareholders definitely don't care about virtue signaling when their balance sheets are bleeding red ink from your movie. So where does that leave Rachel Zegler now? Honestly, not in a great place. Her Hollywood career path looks dim, at least for the near future. Sure, she'll probably keep doing smaller indie films, maybe some stage work, and she might even find peace in that. But those keys to the kingdom Spielberg once handed her, those blockbuster dreams, those big franchise deals, they're gone, vanished like fairy dust in the wind. All because she couldn't pause the drama, hold back the hot takes, and just focus on promoting a family movie. It's one of the wildest Hollywood self-sabotages we've seen in years, proof that sometimes silence really is golden. At the end of the day, Rachel Zegler's story has become one of Hollywood's biggest what could have been moments. She had it all: the connections, the talent, the studio backing, and the kind of career momentum most actors only dream about. But somewhere along the way, ego, controversy, and a total lack of self-awareness took center stage, and everything fell apart. It's a brutal reminder that in Hollywood, no amount of fame or opportunity can save you if you refuse to play smart. The fall of Snow White wasn't just a box office failure, it was a full-blown cultural event, a $170 million cautionary tale about how fast things can go south when a star forgets who the audience really is. The same people who once cheered her on turned away, and the studio that once bet everything on her tried to erase the evidence like it never happened. That's not just a flop, that's legacy damage. Still, who knows? Maybe someday she'll bounce back, rebuild, and learn from the chaos. Hollywood loves a comeback story, if you're willing to own up and grow. But right now, it feels like Rachel's career is sitting in limbo, waiting for a second chance that might never come. All of it could have been avoided with just a little humility, some good PR guidance, and a focus on the craft instead of the drama. So what do you think? Was Rachel Zegler unfairly targeted by the media, or did she truly dig her own grave with that press tour? Do you think Disney will ever give her another shot, or is this the end of the fairy tale once and for all? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what side you're on. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the wildest Hollywood scandals, disasters, and redemption stories. Your support keeps these stories coming. And trust me, we've got plenty more chaos to uncover next.